why do you think that so many women? Because I think it's a lot of people that would even say you lucky, which I don't necessarily believe in luck, but that's what the narrative would be based off of what it is that I see happening in society today, right? Lucky in that they would say, yo, I don't know how she was able to do it 3 times. I can't even figure it out for 1 time, or I can't even find a person that, or maybe my standards are too high or whatever. Do you think that it's luck, or do you think that, like, how were you able to find guys that then, and it seems like you upgraded every time too, to be
Oh,
honest with you, based
100%.
off of what it is that you're telling me,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
How do you then, or what advice would you give to women that say, yo, ain't no good guys out here, or it ain't no guys that, seem to be marriage worthy or anything like that? How do you address that?
So here's the thing, because then you have the other side of the population. It's like, oh, she settles. Oh, she just wants a man. She just wants to be in a relationship. Da da da.
You hear that?
Yeah. I mean, no one's ever said that to. Well, probably
Well, I
have. I
mean,
got
you on
trolls on my
social
account,
media
so
though,
yeah.
right?
I'm like, it's
Yeah.
probably a troll or two, probably, but I don't know. But I know that's part of the narrative. But and you know what? Nobody's completely wrong. Like at the end of the day, getting married at 16, I didn't know who I was or who I wanted to be with. The person that I was at 14, 15, 16 years old that ended up with that person, we wouldn't even be in the same room today.
Mm-hmm.
Ever, under any circumstance. We wouldn't even end up at the same hospital if we got in a car accident for whatever reason. Like, we are just not at all. So I had no way of knowing that. I was stupid at 14, 15, 16, So, and then the second marriage again, it was like, oh, this makes sense. Let's do this. So I basically, to get to the answer, is I feel like, first and foremost, you got to be the person you want to find, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that I married somebody like me, somebody within my realm at that time each time. And I think that I'm a much better. I tell my husband all the time, he's getting the best version of me. I'm the best version of myself now than I ever have been. And he says the same thing to me. So I think that we found each other at the right time. If we would have got together at 20, we probably still wouldn't be together.
How did you guys meet?
Tinder.
Really? Because a lot of people hate apps, right?
Yeah.
They don't necessarily care for it.
But here's the thing, and so it's a couple of things, and to continue on that point is just that we not only do we have to understand who we are and be the person that we want to find, but also you have to understand that you come with flaws and baggage too. I don't care how amazing you are, you come with some shit. So you got to understand that whoever you get with is gonna come with some shit, and that's why that list of like deal breakers is a thing. My husband, shit, he has 5 kids.
That's a
Exactly.
lot.
Most women, and I was one. I was like
Wait,
laughing.
outside of you?
Yeah, we ain't got no kids together, and we'll never have kids together. One of our conditions of marriage was vasectomy, because nah. Between the two of us, between
That's a lot.
grandbabies and children, we have 10.
Wait,
He
wait,
has
wait,
5,
wait.
I
So
have 3, and I have 2 grandbabies, one of which I adopted. So underneath us, like there's
that's a
10.
lot.
I know. It is. That's what I was telling
That's
Rita
a
earlier.
lot
It's a
of.
lot.
I ain't know that. That's a lot of.
So much. So much. So most women, he
Mm.
told me that we're sitting there, getting to know each other, and he says that. I start laughing. I'm like, no, you don't even have 3, because my mind could not compute. Like, there's no way. I'm like, I love everything that I'm seeing so far
Yeah.
and learning. Please don't have 5 kids. Please be playing with me, because I used to play with people when I was younger, and I would go out and stuff, and guys would be like, oh, first one of the first questions a lot of young people ask, how many kids you got, or stuff like that. So I'd be like 10, or I would say something ridiculous, so that when I told them the actual number, they wouldn't be as shocked, because I
Yeah.
was 22 years old or 23 or however old, and I'm like, I got 2 kids, I got 3 kids. That's a lot at that age. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I have 5 or I have 10, just playing with them. And then I have 3. I'm like, see, it's not that bad, huh? So when he said 5, I'm like, please, Lord, no, no. And he was like, no, I have 5. Like, he was dead serious. I'm like,
That's a lot. That's a
and
lot.
I was like, okay, whatever. Well, we got to know. It was the best date I ever been on in my life. And we just continue to get to know each other from there. And I was like, okay, 5 kids, we can figure it out. I got my own baggage. Like, we'll make it work, whatever. It's a lot. I thought we could do it, and we are doing it. But every day you realize how much it is. Like, it's a lot.
Mm.
Most women would not want to deal with that.
Small kids.
They're from
But
ages.
then you adopted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
I ain't built for that.
I don't. Most
I
days
had
I feel like
one,
I'm not either.
and then I got a vasectomy. That was like, I'm not built for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I am built for it, but I don't know. I made up in my mind very early that either I wasn't gonna have kids or I was gonna only have one, and that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Like to be that to know that young. Like
I was very like matter of fact. I knew exactly what my life was gonna be. I knew what I wanted. I knew how it was gonna play out, the whole 9 yards, and it's playing out exactly how I
I am
anticipated
like
it.
the exact opposite of that. I'm just like, well, we'll go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. Like I know kind of like the general idea that I want more. I want to do as much as I can, but it's very. I've always hated the question. Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen 5 minutes from now. You want me to think
Yeah,
about 5 years from now? I've been wrong every time. I'm not about to set myself up for failure again and
yeah,
answer this question
yeah.
wrong.
That's pretty interesting. So then you transition, right? And before you even, I'm assuming that before you even meet this guy, right? Obviously, you in a phase where you're trying to discover who you are, figure out what you like, saying yes to everything and stuff like that, right? Was it any real suffering or issues or things that you at some point you started to question, what the heck am I doing, or why am I in this situation?
I mean, I don't think so. I always kind of know I put myself in the situations that I end up in. So, but I definitely, um, there's been a lot of struggle. Like I feel like my whole life, I've been in the process of writing a book about my life story for many years, and it's hard to get through because, and I don't even know what to call it. I joke about calling it a series of unfortunate events because it just feels like it's always some bullshit.
Yeah,
Granted, I do put myself in a lot of these situations, and not because I'm stupid or because I'm malicious, but because I really am a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, rainbow-colored glasses, everything is beautiful, people have kind hearts type person.
mm-hmm.
And you find yourself stepping in a lot of shit that way. When you looking at red flags like roses, you're going to run into a lot of thorns, like a lot of issues.
Yeah,
And that's been my situation. I really want somebody can be made up of 99% pure evil and 1% you know goodness, and I'm gonna see the 1% goodness and want to somehow make that 2% and 3%, and it usually always ends up hurting me.
yeah. I believe throwing that person away maybe a little
i'm
bit.
getting there I'm getting there now because I'm a type of person. I don't learn from other people, so I gotta touch the stove for myself. You say it's hot, I need to feel how bad it burns.
Not me. So okay, so then at some point you get into real estate. What made you get into real estate?
COVID, same thing. COVID was a downtime for me. It was like I was working a corporate job while I had social media clients on the side. I got laid off from my corporate job at the start of COVID, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll figure something out. I'm just gonna keep doing, work with my clients. And then COVID kept getting worse, and then it was like
Were you in a
initially,
relationship at that time too?
no, that was in that whack situation or whatever
So you wind up meeting the guy that you married to now.
during COVID.
Wow.
Yep,
Okay.
during COVID.